Walter, you're a physicalist. You believe in the physical world and don't believe in the supernatural and gods and religions and all of that. I think I know you can say that with some confidence.
Fair enough.
What do you think about abstract objects, numbers, logic, propositions? Do those things really exist?
Sure. I don't see why we don't say they really exist. You know, people ascribe a lot of properties to them and make a big deal out of them and make it sound like you're really committing yourself to an awful lot. Whereas I think they do exist, but so what? It doesn't make much difference to my worldview.
Why doesn't it make a difference? Because you're now imputing to reality something beyond the physical.
Well, they don't affect physics. If the number 5 exists or doesn't exist, if we even understand what that means, then it doesn't mean that we have to redo physics. It doesn't mean that I make different decisions in my life or that I see my life as not having meaning or having meaning. You know, postulating God is very different from postulating the number 5 because God's going to have trouble by conflicting with science, by leading me to make different decisions, by affecting the meaning of my life. The number 5 doesn't do any of that stuff. So I say it's pretty innocuous. And I do want to say there's something between the number 4 and the number 6, and that's the number 5.
And are you saying that is more than a human-imposed structure that we put on the physical world? For example, the taxonomy in biology. That doesn't exist in reality. There's all these animals and plants, and that human beings try to understand it, and we classify them with a whole structure. And that's our imposition on the world of a structure to have us understand it. Right. You're going beyond that and saying that abstract objects are not just our imposition on the world, but it's something that really exists in the world. That to me sounds very significant with a capital S.
Well, that's because there was a number 5 between the number 4 and the number 6 before humans were ever here. Right. I want to say in the day of the dinosaurs, there was a number 5. And it played the same role then that it does now. The number 5 doesn't cause things to happen. So again, there's no big problem with it. If you say it's beyond the physical, well, sets are beyond the physical too. And there are sets of things. I don't know how you could talk about reality, even the physical world, without saying there's sets of things.
And the question is it a human-imposed way of understanding things, or is it something that is set in, as we say, Platonic heaven, that's something that's real and existing that we're just apprehending as opposed to creating?
So when I say there are 5 objects on this table, then that's human imposed because I decide how to count those objects. I could have subdivided them different ways. Then it's a matter of convention or human imposition in counting particular things.
Okay.
But the number 5 is not like that. So I don't see how humans impose the number. They use the number in specific ways that interest them, but that doesn't mean they created the number.
By you putting real existence in abstract objects gives me a new understanding of you. I had stereotyped you into a position of rigid physicalism, and I don't know suddenly who I'm talking to.
You're still talking to good old Walter. I mean, the number 5 is not physical in the sense that it doesn't have any spatio-temporal location, but the number 5 can still be used to count spatio-temporal locations and physical things. You can say they're 5 pounds. You can say this person has 5 children and so on. So the number 5 is used in physics, and it's hard to imagine, despite what Hartree-Field said, how you could do physics without numbers. And so it seems to me that it's something that's necessary for our understanding of the world, and I'm willing to go with it. It doesn't conflict with science. It doesn't create any problems in anyone's life. And so I don't see what the big deal is. Why are people so insistent that there's no real number? And what do you mean by real when you say it's not real?
Let me give you a hard time by posing this. I would say if you're a pure physicalist and you do not believe in anything at all beyond the physical, that is sort of the real world from a scientific point of view. And by you imposing a reality to abstract objects, I would argue that is a bigger step than to going from where you are to a religious view that would have a God in there. Because once you're willing to go beyond the physical world in any sense, that to me is a huge step. And then it's a bigger step, certainly, to give personality and causative impact and all of that. But that's less of a step than the one you've already made.
So how you measure the bigness of the step depends on what matters to you. What matters to me is that the numbers don't undermine science in any way, whereas many religious beliefs do. The fact that the numbers do not change the meaning of my life or what matters to me, whereas many religions do. The fact that numbers are not going to lead me to hate gays or mistreat people the way some religions do, and yet some religious beliefs do. And so, to me, I say the step to numbers is not that big because it doesn't make much difference to science and to my life and to the things that matter.